All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players podcast, where we finally got confirmation on Nintendo's US pricing scheme for the Nintendo Switch, as well as some adjustments, Death Stranding 2, and the controversy surrounding skippable bosses, and much more. But we'll go ahead and jump right into it, get into our intros, and we'll talk about it. Weeb, how are you this week, man? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, okay, I guess long weekend. So that means more playing time for games. What?
Hey.
Absolutely. What I've been playing? Well, surprisingly, South of Midnight. Despite
Okay.
having some initial misgivings, I did decide to push through, and in the end, I did quite
Nice.
enjoy it. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
I still sure some of my criticisms still somewhat valid. I think in the end you can see like the main character that she has sort of this react to everything kind of default setting where she just describes what happens without actually commenting on it often. That's kind of
Mm.
annoying, but overall, the rest of the characters are great. It was really pretty nice that everything is about resolving trauma. Looks great. It was a lot of despite the combat, being uh, restricted in the sense that there's not many enemies and it's pretty much the same every time you engage in combat outside of the bosses. It's still plenty of variety in gameplay. I'd say the combat once you unlock all your abilities is actually a breeze. Initially it was a bit um, yeah, maybe challenging, but enemies hit like really hard. Like if you get hit, you
Yeah.
lose a chunk of health, and so if you're not careful, it can be over pretty quickly. But once you get the hang of it, and once you just unlock all those abilities, like in the end, every move can be upgraded to pretty much stun enemies, and then you're good to go. Like there is really no way you could lose unless you're very careless or you just happen to enter combat with really low health. But other than that, no, it shouldn't be a challenge really. Um, the yeah, I'm not sure if we want to talk spoilers or reserve that for another podcast. I don't know what about you guys. No answer.
Um, no, I think Tony's the only one
Ah,
who hasn't finished it, so
okay,
you
okay.
probably have to wait.
I'll try. Okay, I'll try to be fixed. But the only thing that sort of was a bit of a letdown was the ending because I was kind of
Yeah.
expecting something else. I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad ending, but like I have sort of the feeling like maybe they were planning to do more and they just decide, yeah, let's just end it here because we need to release the game or something.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like there was more to be said, more to the story that
Yep.
wasn't said.
I mean, it's quite obvious from the fact that it was a chapter, but in the end, nothing really happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but anyway, other than that, a great game. Like I do recommend it after finishing it. And yeah, like we said last week, like the music is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Um, that's absolutely one of the highlights aside from the sort of stop motion graphics. You know, it is absolutely fantastic game. I wouldn't say game of the year. A certain section of the gaming space would like to think, but um, it has its flaws. But in the end, it's absolutely a fine game, and yeah, like I said, recommend it. And if you have Game Pass, of course, you can play it for free. But like, if it ever comes to PlayStation, I would definitely recommend if you haven't experienced yet to yeah get a copy because it's definitely worth it. So yeah, that's
Agree.
what I've been playing, and yeah, now I'm back with Assassin's Creed basically, but haven't had a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
playtime this week. Yeah.
Sounds good. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny that you mentioned the whole there's more there's more to it or whatever. Omar, you have to skip the ad, bro. Like Jesus. It was like playing an ad for like 10 minutes. I was like, God. But it was driving me crazy. Um, but yeah, no, she was mentioning that to me about it feeling like there was more to be told and this and that, which I found funny because I feel like that's starting to become a trend with Xbox games. Um, because that was a lot of what was said about Hellblade 2. Like a lot of people were unsure. It was like they never really gave like a conclusion, and I was like, I mean, it's probably not on purpose, but it seems like that's something that is starting to become a trend, whether they wanted to be or not. Um, but yeah, we'll see
Did you
how
feel that way
how it
with
goes.
Avowed, or was that a complete story for you?
No, I mean, Avowed made sense.
Okay.
It had multiple endings, so as long as you got like the good ending, it all kind of made sense.
Mm,
So yeah, Avowed didn't do that, but I mean, again, Obsidian is also kind of in their own lane. They kind of get
yeah.
to do what they want, so they just kind of got the check. So that makes sense. Um, but yeah, uh, Morgan, how are you this week, ma'am? And what have you been playing?
I'm good. I'm good. Very similar story to Weeb. Finished and 100%ed South of Midnight.
Congrats.
And thank you. Enjoyed my time with it. I'm basically in the same kind of as Weeb. It was really good. I enjoyed my time with it, and I think if you have Game Pass, that it's definitely a game worth spending time on. Um, yeah, the story did seem just like there was just missing bits, and like I said last week, it feels like some people's story, some of the trauma that you deal with, like some of the stories seem to, I don't know if it's like they just didn't get resolved in the way that I would have preferred. It just seems like we kind of handled some situations and then didn't really talk, like I said, to the people that we were helping with their trauma. It's just like we dealt with it and we left. And I was just like, I mean, I would have liked to maybe not necessarily confront, maybe confront is the wrong word, but just discuss what we just went through with the person that we just helped. Um, but yeah, it just kind of like pushed you on to the next chapter. I feel like if it had just been more like thought out more, like maybe cut a chapter or two and just focus on like being more thorough with the trauma that you were dealing with in the earlier chapters or something. I don't know. I think maybe it would have been better. Um, I could definitely see like a sequel situation happening. Like maybe they'll release some DLC or a sequel. Um, I don't know, but I really do hope that Compulsion Games gets another shot. I know Xbox really isn't. Game Pass is supposed to be that you know that safety net for smaller games, but it seems like if a smaller game doesn't really do much for Game Pass, Xbox isn't really keen on nurturing the studio. So I just hope that Compulsion Games gets to stick around to try to make another game. I mean, at least based on South of Midnight and their
Yeah.
previous games that they've made, they're obviously getting better, right? With every game they've made, the Metacritic and the quality has gone up, so that's a good sign. Um, so I just hope Xbox gives them another chance. Like I said last week, the Xbox of 2018 is not the same Xbox of 2025, so their goals are a lot different from when they initially bought Compulsion Studios. What they want out of these studios isn't the same, but I just kind of hope that they're safe and they're able to create whatever they want next. Because I do think they deserve like to keep making games. I'm always gonna support smaller studios and smaller projects because I love indie games and I want them to thrive. And I don't want it to be a thing where, oh well, if you're not making AAA, then get the hell out, like essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd absolutely recommend South of Midnight if you have Game Pass. Go ahead and play it up. And if it does, like Weeb said, if it ever comes to PlayStation, I recommend getting it there too, because I will definitely buy it on PlayStation and play it and platinum it on PlayStation. So, yeah, if they ever want to bring it, Compulsion, I will take it. But yeah, and I feel like I'm copying Weeb this week because I'm also back on Assassin's Creed Shadows. I am like, I swear,
great
I
minds.
am exactly. There you go. I am so close to getting the plat. Like literally, I've cleared up all like the annoying kind of trophies, like get the collectibles, do this random move, whatever. Right. Only thing I have left is literally just like finishing the game, essentially. Like I just gotta finish Naue and Yasuke's like personal stories, and finish up, get to the epilogue, and then I'll be done. Like, so I feel like I'm like 2 to 3 hours away from getting the plat. I was hoping I would get it before the show, but unfortunately could not. Maybe by the end of the show I'll have it. But yeah, almost done. I'm so glad. Not because I hate the game, just I'm just glad to get another game off of my my long list of games I need to play before Expedition 33. So this will be done hopefully today, and then I'm gonna go back and try to finish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm near the end of the game. I don't know how close I am to the plat with that. Probably a ways away, probably like 4 or 5 hours away from that, but maybe fingers crossed I can finish that before Expedition 33, and then I
Oh
can,
man,
just
since you
fully
about to push it.
focus. Yeah, exactly. Just fully focus on Expedition because that's the big game I know that we're all looking forward to. So, yeah, that's basically what I've been doing.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, lots of gaming going on, as you guys can see. Uh, Trying to finish up a lot of games. We're all playing a lot of similar games. Um, but yeah, I meant to ask you, did you get the trophy you were working on the other night, the dizzy and the
Yeah,
poison?
yes,
Oh,
that
okay.
one was literally the most annoying one. Um,
Okay.
it's like you have to daze and poison an enemy and then use a finisher on them. Like you have to fully daze them, fully poison them, and then use a finisher. And it's annoying because it just seems like like it wasn't hitting, or it wasn't realizing that I was doing it, or I don't know, maybe I just wasn't doing it right. But I like after doing it on 40 freaking different enemies, it finally went through. So that was probably the most
Nice.
annoying trophy. But yeah.
Got you. All right. Omar, last but not least here, how are you, sir, and what have you been playing? I know you seem like you've been playing a lot recently, so let's get the gauntlet. Or, I mean, or not.
Oh man.
Hey, short podcast.
Well,
I mean, Omar's clearly been playing a lot. You know, he sounds really riveted right now. Uh,
mm,
Omar, did you mute your mic again?
he's probably over there cussing like, "Oh my god, bro." He can't figure out how to talk. Oh look, yeah,
No.
look, he left Discord.
Itched his his input somehow like was something he was messing with because Omar is always messing with his sound settings when he's not
hmm
supposed to.
It's not
He's
my
also
fault.
hosting the
It's not
podcast,
my
so he's
fault.
forgetting that he can't really leave. So, oh my God, Omar, you were fine before the show. Did you screw something up?
He had to. He had to.
Oh well.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'll go. What the fuck?
Hello?
Stop
Finally!
leaving.
Oh,
Okay,
you
Omar,
might
like,
have died?
you gotta stop leaving Discord because you mess up the podcast when you do that.
I think I need a new mic because this mic be cutting me off literally. The mic was on, the light was on, but there was
Yeah,
literally no sound.
Omar, we don't care. We have
Yeah,
a
we don't care.
podcast
I
here.
do
Wait,
care. But yeah,
bruh.
Go,
what
Like,
man.
what I've been playing. I finished mini shooter adventure. It's basically a Metrovania, but you play as a small ship, and it takes a lot of examples from the old school Zelda. Welcome to world interaction and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. It's fun. Final Boss had its own final boss, so that was fun. And afterwards, I started a game called The Devil Within Satcat. It's a Metrovania I played with Weeb when we visited the game show last year. And yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I'm hoping to finish it before Expedition 33. And in the meantime, if I finish it and there's still time left, I will dive into the Outlaw demo. Because I'm curious what Star Wars Outlaw is about. But yeah, that's about it for me.
okay, got you. As for myself, and I've been all over the place lately. Um, I randomly decided to jump into the Lunar Remaster. Um,
Oh, you still
a lot
got
of
it.
people,
Okay.
a lot of people who um frequent the same type of games that I do swear by this series and swear it's like one of the greatest things that ever existed. So I went on ahead and I picked it up. Been playing it on my Portal most of the time. I think it plays really well there, honestly. Like the pixel art and stuff just plays really well with the size of the Portal screen and whatnot, and it just looks really great there. So I've been enjoying that so far. I'm still pretty early on. Um, I did I did start South of Midnight. I'm not done with it like they finished up. Um, I'll most likely finish that before Expedition 33, since it's only like 12 or 15 hours long or something like that. Um, but again, I've been enjoying my time with that as well. Um, it's been pretty interesting so far. Um, and then I've also been trying out a game that a friend of mine got on my Steam family called Metal Bringer. Um, it's like a roguelike where you can change out mech parts or something, and I it's hard to explain. It looks ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. You really just run around and like you're as you kill different things, you could pick up different weapons that they drop, or if you beat another mech up, you can pick up a weapon it had, or um, if you break it down, you can kind of repair it and jump into a different mech, start building that mech up. So you can just eventually you just turn into this crazy killing machine in the end with all these different things. I've seen people run around and just punch stuff to death, use swords, uh, lightsaber looking weapons, all kinds of craziness. Um, so that's been an interesting one as well. And then I've been playing the sequel to one of my favorite SRPGs called Dark Deity 2. I picked that up when it dropped. Anybody who knows about Dark Deity, it's exclusive on PC, so a lot of people who are more console oriented don't really know about it. Um, but think Fire Emblem, the indie edition, which I'm eternally grateful for because we don't really get a lot of those types of games. Um, so again, yeah, just I've been having a lot of fun with that. I'm sure there's like 15 other games that I've probably touched in the meantime, but again, uh, when Expedition 33 comes out, I'm not touching nothing else. It's
Everything is
all it's all
getting
that.
dropped.
Yeah, it's all that 24/7 until it's done. Like I'm all in on that game. I'll have to pick it up in the morning from GameStop because, like I said, I ordered the special edition from GameStop. So I'm excited for that. I wish they were doing a midnight launch, but they're not. Um, so like I said, I'll have to wait till like 10 a.m. or whatever ridiculous time they open up now. Um, but yeah, that's the big thing next week is all about Expedition.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna jump into our first topic here. Um, Major update, obviously, for Nintendo. U.S. fans have been foaming at the mouth, as everyone has seen on Twitter this past week. Nintendo finally confirmed they are not going to change the price, which anybody who's actually been paying attention to the market and what's been going on pretty much knew that was pretty much going to be the case. The only reason they really would have changed it is just because they felt like it, because tariffs are currently not affecting the Nintendo Switch. Um, so there was really no need to change the price. But for whatever reason, alongside that announcement that they're not going to change the price and pre-orders are going to start on April 24th, they did announce there may be some price adjustments to accessories, which, like I said, it is a bit crazy because if anybody's seen the original prices, the Pro controller is already $80 and the Joy-Cons are 90. So, I mean, we're just gonna make that a smooth 100 or something, like, I don't know. It's just kind of wild. Like everything, I saw like everything for that device is just feels so expensive. But yeah, whether or not let us know if you're getting one. Um, right now, like I said, Priscilla still looks like she wants to get one day one. Um, and of course, keep in mind if you want the physical version of Mario Kart, that's the 450 version plus $80. So that's before anything else. So it's just wild. It's kind of stacking up pretty fast, but uh, honestly, I feel I was talking to Morgan about this, and I'm just kind of like ready for this stuff to get out because like Nintendo fans are just literally freaking out and creating all kinds of weird comparisons and doing all kind of backflips and gymnastics to try and justify every negative thing that comes out about this device. Um, like the update to understanding that VRR will not work, at least currently, when your Switch is docked. It'll only work when you have it in handheld mode uh, and the like. So yeah, a lot of updates for that going on. I know out of all of us here, I think Weeb already locked in his Switch too.
Yep.
So obviously not being in the U.S., this doesn't change anything for you. Um, but yeah, I know you're like you said, you're already locked in, so you're good to go. Um, Morgan, does this change anything for you, or you're still kind of on the same wait and see as far as the U.S. goes?
Yeah, there's really nothing I need to switch for day one. So, like I said though, Mario Kart and Donkey Kong look great, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm like dying to play, especially with the backlog of games and games I have to play right now just on PlayStation. But like I
Understandable.
said, during the end of the year for like Hades 2 and Witchbrook, that's probably when I'll get the Switch 2.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think you're gonna get lucky on Witchbrook though. I still think it's coming to PS5.
I
I
mean, I
think they're
hope
gonna make
so,
it happen.
but
Yeah, I
uh,
just think there's too much hype around the game, and like I said, like every comment was like, "What about PS5?"
see,
So
I'm
it's
telling you,
like,
bro.
and
Like
yeah,
as I said, like shoes gone for 2 seconds, and we miss out on a great indie. Like what's going on, man?
yeah, we need to get that man. Like, look,
I
I
need. That's what
never.
I'm saying. I need the direct email of who replaced him because I got questions. Like what's going on right
She
now?
said, she
Like
said, what are you doing? Because if
what are
this
you
was she
doing?
right now, we wouldn't have missed that.
Hell no, she would have
No.
been like, yeah, man, I've been playing this for 3 years, bro. Day one.
Yeah, Henry's in the chat saying Witchbrook looked hella good. Yeah, it really did. It really, really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, PlayStation don't want to be missing out on that one for sure. Switch might run away with that one if they let them. So, um, but yeah, like I said, I know, Karaba, I don't think you're not getting one anyway, so this doesn't really
Yeah,
change
no,
anything for
I'm
you.
not.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I mean, we just wanted to get the confirmation out there. I know some people knew, some people didn't know. They said I don't think it's going to change anything for anybody in the chat. I know Wara's out on the opposite, on the upside down of the world, as a lot of people say. I don't think he's getting one day one either. Um, oh yeah, Donkey Kong on the OG Switch. Yeah. I did, yeah, I did forget about that. Some of the games are going to be that. That's also kind of the weird crossover in what they're announcing, like keeping an eye on what's on the Switch, original Switch, and what's not, and like crossovers, and it's kind of all over the place. Wara lives in the future, right? Okay, Wara says not day one. Okay, yeah. See that? I mean, that's kind of the sentiment I'm getting from a lot of people. So understandable. So, like I said, let us know if you listen to it later. You know whether or not you're day one or not. I say it looks like me and Weave might be the only ones that'll have it. They said again, if it was up to me alone, I wouldn't be getting it, but Priscilla's getting it. So, she said she reserves the right to change her mind though. So we'll see how that goes. Um,
Oh, don't leave me
the
hanging.
right. We gotta try out that amazing, Discord imitation chat.
Yeah.
Um, so in other news, people's favorite news, PlayStation negative news. Um, people love to have this conversation. Obviously, due to global economics and everything that's been going on with the American president playing yo-yo with tariffs and messing up the market to death. As bad as it already was in the first place. Things are being adjusted. Prices are going up in various places. New deals are being put in place. The economy is wild right now. Especially for U.S. residents. We still about paying $10 for a dozen eggs over here. Um, but PlayStation Plus, has a price hike in Canada and a few places over in Europe. Um, due to these global economic conditions, um, that's what they announced. It looks like the general for Canada, when I was looking at it, it looks like two of the tiers is like a $35 increase, and the other one is like 15 or something. Like the lowest one didn't go up crazy. Honestly, when you look at the pricing versus what the price is in the US, it honestly kind of balances out. Nobody wants a price hike. I mean, they don't want a price hike because every time you go up, you're going to eventually price somebody out, right? It's never fun. No one wants to have that conversation. No one wants to do that to their brand. Um, but it is what it is. It happens. A lot of things have adjusted and gone up, and that's what PlayStation is saying they need to do in order to continue to offer the quality that they do with their service. So people will make their decisions accordingly, catch a sale on PlayStation Plus or what have you. I mean, I know a ton of people who honestly just play single player games and they don't worry about it. And honestly, you don't really need it if that's all you're really playing. And a lot of people play Apex Legends and Fortnite. So again, it's really important to keep in mind, at least as far as the online aspect, that you don't really need Plus, as far as that goes. If that's specifically what you're using it for, because you can play all those online free-to-play games without the need for Plus in the first place, or you can continue with the lowest tier for the year. So plenty of options for people like that. Like I said, it's never fun. Um, but people are going to freak out regardless. Obviously, with the elephant in the room being the Switch 2 and all its crazy pricing, Nintendo fans are like, see, look at them, look what they did. They're raising prices too, and it's just, I don't know, it's a mess out here. But um Weave, how you feeling about everything going on, I guess, with these price hikes on PlayStation Plus? Are you fearing a potential hike for yourself? Or yeah, you're good. It's just business as usual.
That's gonna happen anyway. And you know what, Nintendo fans, I'm blaming Nintendo this time because that's how it works, right? If one does it first, then
Oh.
everybody else follows.
Wait
Hey.
until PlayStation starts putting $80, then you can talk like that.
Oh no, it starts with this. It starts with this.
Hmm.
You know, that's how it works, right?
Yeah,
You know.
it
I
does.
mean, I mean that's how they said it worked. So yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
Nintendo put the
it,
price up.
yeah. Look, like the only reason why I still now have PlayStation Plus Essentials is because Oma wanted to play Split Fiction with me because that's when you need it. But other than that, like I don't really play multiplayer games, so for me it's just pick up those monthly games and which I probably will never play or already have. So yeah, I mean if the only thing that's doing for me is just caring less about it and like maybe let it run out again and resubscribe if there is a
Pick it up on sale.
yeah or if I need it like if the next co-op game comes out or something like that like but yeah basically like I look I don't really care because if I need it I pick it up but it is becoming more and more like Netflix right like at least that's what I do and what probably other people do it is you subscribe when there's something that you really want to watch coming
Mhm.
and then you let it run out at some point because there's nothing really you want to watch and then you just wait until until the next big thing hits and yeah I mean that's I guess that's also what they're maybe seeing with their subscriptions that people that's not growing as much anymore or something I guess and that's when you see the price hikes coming um yeah this with this again it aside from the fact that you need from multiplayer it's an option you don't really need it if you don't do multiplayer um but yeah still still obviously the entire point of the whole entire discussion that we're basically being charged for multiplayer it's still stupid um but I guess that just means kids play single player games because those are the real games.
All facts. I'm all for that. Um, yeah, no, I mean it's not a big deal for me. So far, obviously, it's not in the U.S. yet. Potentially, it could be. Honestly, I think at this point, I really wish PlayStation removed whatever that movie offering thing they had in there. And I know, like Morgan said, they don't want to because, it's successful on its own, but they really should include Crunchyroll. I think the synonymous nature
Yeah,
between
they
anime
should
and
absolutely be
gaming is
included.
just so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should definitely be included. Um,
If not just like
but
a free
yeah,
trial or like a I don't know. Does Crunchyroll have? I like I have Crunchyroll, but I don't remember. Does it have like a premium tier and like
yeah, they have tiers. They have tiers where you can get
okay,
like one stream or like four streams or like so
okay,
on and so forth. So yeah, like
okay.
they could put like the one stream version
Yeah, they could like
in
put
there or
just
something.
the lower version. Like you own Crunchyroll and Funimation and all these other anime studios. Like I get it makes them billions of dollars because obviously anime is popular, and if you have the most popular anime streaming service, I get it makes you money. But I mean, a lot of people pirate anime. But
Yeah,
I think it would be a look of goodwill to include and fold Crunchyroll into it. Like if you're gonna raise prices, it might as well have some incentive to it.
exactly. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah,
Morgan,
there's just too
how
much.
are you feeling about this? Go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, no, you're good. There's just too much of like you said, there's just too much of a connection between anime and gaming. Like it makes so much sense. It's not like um, Sony owns a farm or something, and that would make no sense in order and to fold it into PS Plus or something like that. But anime
Yeah,
is like anime and gaming go hand in hand. Like it's just it would just make perfect sense, especially with the way they're trying to streamline their anime with gaming with their partnership with what was it Kurisaka or whatever.
oh,
Um,
Sadakawa. Yeah,
yeah, Katakawa. Thank you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That makes even more sense.
so yeah, I just yeah, I don't get it, but I think that would be genius. But again, I think they just look at it to see it's too much of a loss for them financially. But yeah, the whole PS Plus thing though, yeah, I think we all kind of saw it coming. Like as the years go by, as all of these services are going to increase in price, whether it's PS Plus, Game Pass, The Nintendo Online, now that it has more features, will definitely increase in price. Um, I'm not really that pressed about it because, like you, I really don't play online games like that. Like the most online gaming that I've done was when Helldivers 2 was released, and I was like on there like every day for like a month. But after that, it's just I'm not really online. The last time I was similar to Weeb for Split Fiction when I was playing that with you and Nate. So it's just like I don't really care. I have it, but it's for like the monthly games, and if it ever gets to a point where it's just like it makes no sense for me, I'm just not gonna have it. Like it's like I don't need it,
Same.
so it's not something where I'm annoyed. Like it's stupid. I think the price hikes. No one likes higher prices, but I will definitely. It's definitely not something where I'm like I have no choice and I'm pissed off I have to pay for it. Like I do. I have a choice. I am a 99.999% single player gamer, so having an online service is not a necessity for me. Like I said, I'm similar to Weeb where I just get it for like the monthly games that I'll download or add to my library and probably never play. Or I've already played them and I don't really need them. But yeah, it does suck though, and it's an unfortunate domino effect of this world economy that's happening right now, and especially in the U.S. U.S. creates all types of freaking issues on their own. But yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not really too pressed about it. Like like I said, I expect all these services prices to go up. Like I expect Game Pass to go up in like the next month or two. I'm trying to figure out for me personally, because I usually the only really time I really pick up Game Pass subscription is when they do the little sale for like the 3 months or whatever, like 3 months for like $30 or something, like a good decent sale. I'm like
Yeah.
sitting here going through my mind of like the games I want to play on Xbox, and I'm trying to figure out, do I really need my Xbox or my Game Pass subscription right now?
Good
Because I
question.
don't think there's another game on Xbox this year. I don't want to say that because obviously they have a summer showcase where they're probably going to be announcing more games, but thus far there's really nothing else that they have announced this year that I need Game Pass for. So it's just like, not to me, that was the last game, and I don't really care about Doom. Ninja Gaiden, don't really care about that. Like Call of Duty,
Yeah, same.
don't care about that. So I'm like, I'm about to cancel my Game Pass subscription. Is what's about to happen.
And you're buying Expedition, so you don't need it for
Yeah, and I'm
that.
buying Expedition 33 on PlayStation. So there's really nothing that I need Game Pass for the rest of the year unless they announce something new at the summer showcase. But then again, it'll probably be something multi-platform that I can play on my PlayStation. So that's probably getting canceled. But yeah, PS Plus, it sucks, but it is what it is. I really don't. It really doesn't affect me personally that much. But I feel for people who are online gamers and play games.
Yeah.
Multiplayer and that aren't free to play, and now they're kind of forced to pay more if they're in Europe or other select areas, Canada and stuff like that. It does suck, and I kind of wish PlayStation had a similar thing that Xbox does, where you can pick up PS Plus, on sale, like little bundles or something that they would have every few months or something. Like at least like, because I hate how they cut out the thing where you could when you like re-up during Black Friday, you get like half off for like a year or half off for like 3 months or something. I hate that they got rid of that. That was what really made me mad, because like when I was trying to renew around Black Friday or pick up some like extra months, it was like no, because you're already subscribed, so you can't. I was just like,
Yeah, they started
okay, like the
blocking it
sale,
to
the
only new
sale,
subscribers.
yeah, the sale only counts if you're a new subscriber, which is so stupid. Like that's one of the main things I'm upset about, is that they kind of cut ways to get PS Plus, monthly subscriptions on a discount. That's what really sucks for me, but it is what it is.
No, I agree. I get that. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, if you just really need it for that, um, the version that just normally go on sale is usually the lowest tier. So just continue to pick that up, pay the lowest price, and keep playing, keep it pushing online. You know, it's still a lot cheaper than any of the other services. So yeah, just keep going with that. But yeah, like you said, the price hike sucks. Um, Omar, um, how are you feeling about all this? I mean, I know this is something that you typically keep PlayStation Plus for a various number of reasons, but how are you feeling like it? Or I know you potentially said your fear is that the price hike might hit you, or so on and so forth. So what's going on with you?
Yeah, it did hit me. It's Europe, after all. To me, it sucks, but what can you do about it? What I am going to do, I'm going to do more research on how PlayStation Plus works. Can I activate it and deactivate it? Would I lose the date or stuff like that? Cause most of the time I don't even play online like that. There's literally
Yeah,
selective date of time that I play online out of what 20 365 days. So paying 120 euro. No, I forgot the exact price. I need to look it up. But yeah, but before then I think it was 60 euro, which is for a year. It's still it does it's hard, but hey, we are after all in the era where pay for online, so we are never gonna escape that sadly. But hey, what can you do? But Morgan said it, or we said it about the anime, but I'm like, they're not gonna
yeah,
do that. Come on, this is Sony we're talking about.
hey, like I'm just trying to help them out.
They're
I'm
not,
I'm
they're
trying to
not,
give out some good ideas.
they're not
Yeah.
in it to support us. They're in it to buy their 35 jobs. Come on,
Yeah,
take
I
your
just think
mama.
that it would, as far as good publicity goes, because sometimes good publicity beats out profits for
Huge
companies.
publicity.
Um, so I
I
think it
agree.
would be a good public move for Sony to include like I'm not saying again, I'm not saying it's got to be the premium tier because that's what I have. And I know it's like like what is it like 13 some dollars a month. I don't know what my Crunchyroll is. That's my problem
Yeah, it's
with
like
most of my
12. It's
subscriptions.
like twelve
I
dollars
don't.
now.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the premium tier, right? Because I mean, the great thing, and the good thing about that too is if you include that, it opens it up to people who may not have Crunchyroll and they get to try it, and if they like it, maybe they'll up their tier to the premium, and Sony gets some new customers that way. It's just like there's just a lot of potential from it, but again, like Omar said, like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's Sony, so the likelihood of them actually doing it, even though it makes perfect sense, is very slim.
Yeah, I agree.
It's for
They ain't trying to give us nothing out here. They say you gonna earn everything. Pay me. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we spoke about it. No, none of us like it. It's not fun to have these conversations. We want to have a conversation where we talk about prices going down, but we all know how that goes. Um,
it really
that is
got
what they
done,
call a
isn't it?
recession, ladies and gentlemen. When you say what?
It really got done, prices.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's why you call
You
that a
know what I would
recession because
love? I would
only resets
love
prices.
Most of the
for
time it's up, up,
PlayStation
up, up.
and Xbox to come out, make a statement, and be like, "Listen, we've seen Nintendo go up to 80,
No,
but we're not gonna do that.
I would not be
We're
surprised
not
if
gonna do
That
that."
they.
would be pretty funny.
I would not be surprised if they raise the price as well. It's just the industry
I
right now.
mean, Nintendo opened the window, so I know GTA at least is probably gonna be it. GTA gonna be look at their games and be like, Nintendo can charge 80 for
I,
that? Oh hell yeah, bro!
I
We about to charge
was
100 for our shit.
I was going to ask you, but we move on. Do you guys think that the industry is gonna move toward the NT now?
No, they're not moving to 80 because Nintendo, despite selling Mario Kart for 80, is not selling the rest of their games for 80. So, no, it's not an
Do,
industry move yet.
would you think GTA 6 is gonna be 80?
The GTA 6 can do whatever it wants. Like that GTA 6 is not fair. That's not even a question.
Oh
GTA
man,
6 GTA
listen.
6 could be $200 if we really being honest. And people about to go DoorDash or Uber or whatever they got to do to get that money because you're gonna play GTA 6. Like
Listen.
that
Nah, listen.
phenomenon is beyond gaming.
PlayStation's gonna come out and be like, you know what? Intergalactic is a next gen quadruple A experience, so we're gonna charge quadruple A prices, and it's gonna be $80. I honestly wouldn't be
Or
surprised if they did that.
they gonna drag PlayStation from here to Kazakhstan if
And
they try
PlayStation don't
that
give a damn.
nonsense.
They're gonna be
Like
like, y'all gonna buy it anyway, so go ahead and complain.
yeah, like I just don't think they will move. I don't think anybody's moving to that at all as a
I could see
standard
them.
So do you think
until
that?
next
Yeah,
generation.
yeah. I was
Do
about to
you?
say that. I could see them waiting to next gen to do that.
I was about to say next gen is gonna be at 10. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them moving up next gen, but I just don't. There's nothing to justify that price. Also, why do that when you can include like a different colored jacket? Like you can include the white color of her jacket and like some really cool colors on the katana and then charge $80. Like you really ain't got to do much to justify like the deluxe edition these days. Like so it's like why pull the nonsense for the standard version when you can just add a couple little things and get away with the deluxe edition if you really want to up the price. Like that's what I'm saying. That would be a mistake on their
Yeah,
part to
some
try and
deluxe editions
preempt that.
are atrocious.
Yeah, yeah. They so
What?
I don't see it. Don't no. Um, but yeah, uh, we're move to the next topic here, which of course is the Death Stranding 2 reveal from Kojima and them stating that they're going to add a feature where you can now skip bosses. At least in as it pertains to Death Stranding 2, in a more visual novel sense. Basically, it'll showcase the boss fight and let you move on past that. So you'll get the point of the boss fight, what essentially I guess should have happened or could happen during the fight, and then proceed into the next cutscene specifically for the bosses. Um, this is obviously a very controversial thing for a lot of people because I've heard a few people talk about it this week. Um, you have a lot of people feeling very polarized about it. I know originally Omar had asked us, what we thought about it in chat. So we'll go over it and see what some of us think. Morgan did bring up a lot of really good points, so I definitely want to get to her, but I'm gonna wait and we're gonna go to Omar first. Omar, how are you feeling in particular with this, feature being included about skipping the boss fight when it comes to Death Stranding 2?
Okay, so this been a thing in the industry for the longest now. It's like it's nothing new. What's the difference between able to skip boss battles versus the ability to make yourself invincible in a game? Like there is literally games where they give you the ability to be invincible, and you're gonna never die. You're just gonna run through the boss, and this is just time saving, if that makes sense. I would say though it's gonna put a damper on a genuine conversation of if you beat the game. I mean, if you beat it, you do you. It's just to me. I think if I remember, I'm not sure, but I read somewhere that also sort of midnight allows you to skip battles, which I didn't do, but I'm not
I
sure.
mean, I told you that.
I'm
We
not
talked
sure.
about it last week.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but okay. To me, it's like it's targeted towards the casuals, and if you're casuals and you're okay with that, hey, you do you. But I'm not gonna lie. Um, Death Stranding at least one bosses were never that difficult, especially with the amount of endless supply of support from the online. When it comes to blood pack, grenade, and everything in between. So unless they made the Death Stranding 2 bosses a lot more difficult, and restricted the online support, I can't see. I mean, it was casual, so I understand that. You can get upset about it, but at the end of the day, it's about all about you. Are you going to make use of it? Me? I'm not. I would rather suffer through the boss and finish the game instead of what you call it, skip the boss battle. Because to me, it feels like I might as well watch it on YouTube, isn't it? Because that's what skipping boss battle is. But hey, to each their own. That's all I would say.
Okay. Uh, Morgan, how are you feeling about this new in quotes feature being added to Death Stranding too?
Um, well, personally, I don't really give a damn because what somebody else does doesn't affect me. If
All
somebody else
facts.
wants to skip the boss, why the hell would I care? It's an option. You can do it. You can't. Like, it doesn't change the fact that they're still in there. And if you want to fight them, you can. If you don't, you don't. Um, my thing is, the arguments that I've heard as far as um, people being upset about it, they're
Hmm.
like, well, it, you can't really, it's a major part of the gameplay. It's like, well, you might as well just watch it, like Omar said on YouTube or whatever. But I'd
You don't get
argue
the sense
that,
of accomplishment. Yeah.
yeah, I'd argue that the boss fights in Death Stranding are not the gameplay. The gameplay, and especially like when you think about what Death Stranding is, and with Death Stranding 1, the gameplay
Hmm.
was getting from point A to B and mapping it out and getting your equipment ready and trying to get, the best route to your destination. Like that was the gameplay. And that's not like a slight towards Death Stranding. That's just what it was, right? Even Kojima called it the Strand genre. Like that, like it's the gameplay is not you fighting the bosses like where you'd run into the entities and you'd have to shoot them and stuff like that's of course that's in there, but a lot of it is easily skippable because you can just sneak through enemy territory without even like activating most of the big bosses, right? Like there's only like I
Hmm.
think two or three in the game that's like obviously like story mandatory to fight. um so the gameplay for me in Death Stranding is the routes, you getting there, you equipping your stuff, you doing your loadouts, you trying to get through the territories. Like that's the gameplay of Death Stranding. So people are getting upset that you can skip the boss fights. Like if you skipped all the boss fights in Death Stranding 1, you would have still got exactly what Kojima was trying to say. Like as far as what
Yeah.
the story was about and what Death Stranding was about. Like the boss fights were not instrumental to what Death Stranding was trying to accomplish. So it being skippable in Death Stranding 2, especially if it's following a similar formula, does not seem like a big deal
Hmm.
to me because that's not even what Death Stranding is about. So, like, if they'll be able to skip the big giant entity coming at you, I don't think that's gonna change anything about you not being able to understand what the hell is going on in Death Stranding 2, right?
Yeah.
So again, but I mean, again, I don't really care about accessibility features as a whole. I think more options for gamers is always great. It's like as long as you don't take away shit from people, I don't understand why
Agreed.
adding things is upsets gamers. Like, oh, how dare you add this ability for me to lower my difficulty? How dare you add this ability for me to do this and that? Like, I can understand that, like on like a Dark Souls, like because that is what the game is about, right? The difficulty is the gameplay. So I get
Yeah.
people
We're
not
never gonna
wanting,
fault them for not doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So you not wanting, people get upset because it's like, well, they should put easy difficulty on it. No, because that's the genre and that's what it's trying to do. That's what it is about. And if you just don't like that, then there's other types of games that you can play. You don't have to play Souls games, right? I am not a Souls fan, so I just do not play Souls games. I'm not gonna ask the Souls genre to conform to what I like because it's not for me. There are plenty of people who absolutely enjoy Souls games all day long, and I will not fault you for that. That is your thing. Absolutely, that's the genre for you. Go for it. Like, I'm not gonna ask it to conform to me. Like, gaming isn't about me. There's plenty of genres that I like, right? So, but yeah, like I said, adding features will never be a thing that I get upset at. Like, I don't care. Like, especially with, like I said, with Death Stranding, skipping boss fights won't affect you understanding what Death Stranding is, and won't affect you the outcome of what Kojima is trying to say with Death Stranding 2. Um, so again, I'm not upset by this. It's dumb. I mean, Kojima Kojima games have had the ability for you to skip boss fights for years anyway. Like back with Metal Gear 1, you could do it. Like if you knew the right way, you could skip bosses. Like it's not a new thing, especially with Kojima. So I don't know. I guess people either haven't played Kojima games or they just don't understand the history of Kojima. But yeah, I'm not gonna get upset about this. I think the whole argument is stupid. Like, who cares? Like, really,
Yeah.
who cares? Like the saying goes, what you won't make me shit. Like, I don't care. What you do does not affect me. As long as I
Yeah.
can play the game the way I want to play it, I am a happy gamer.
No, I do agree with Henry. Henry made a point while you were talking because this was brought up, and this is a very separate thing, right? Someone's when it's their job to play and review a game is a very different thing than someone personally playing a game, right?
Oh yeah, reviewers. Yeah, that's a different topic.
Yeah, reviewer
You know
is a
for
whole
a
different
fact
thing,
reviewers
and
are
as
gonna
a
make use of it.
and I mean that's irrelevant. What the point is, what he stated though, is if you use this as a reviewer, you 100% need to disclose that,
You think they will
because
do?
that is going to alter your opinion on the game, and especially if they say certain things like you need to be able to that's like a checks and balances thing. Like you
Yeah.
need to disclose that, the same way
Absolutely.
YouTube makes them disclose if they got an
Yeah.
item as a gift. Like
Because when
you were
Should-
doing a review.
Should
Kind
you
of Funny reviewed South of Midnight. I remember watching it, and Greg did. He did say, he was like, South of Midnight allows you to skip the combat, and he said for the first 2 chapters, I played with the, just to kind of get the gist of what the combat is, and I realized it was repetitive. So then for the last few chapters, I skipped out the combat, but I did the boss battles. But he said, he made sure to tell people like, yeah, I did skip the combat, but I played the boss battles. But he's like, I just kind of got the gist of it after chapter 3. I was like, okay, so this is what it is. I don't really need to play it anymore because it's gonna be samey. So it is what it is.
He skipped after chapter 2 or 3?
After yes.
Like
I mean, the regular
the-
battles.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I get you, but you still don't get in your skills up.
I mean, we're not arguing what he got out of it. We don't
but
care.
I mean,
What
at
we're
the end of the
talking about
day,
is that
it
he
is.
disclosed it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he wasn't missing out on that much, Omar. Let's be honest. Like the combat isn't gonna make or break like the review for South of Midnight. Like it's really not that important. But yeah, I think. But if you are doing a review, probably if you're gonna skip, you do need to disclose that you skipped it. So you'd be like, I gave it this score, but just know that I did skip the combat, or so it might change how you feel about it, or or the boss battles, I should say. I skipped the boss battle, so this is how I feel. But I mean, as long as they say it, I don't really care. Like just just tell us that that's what you did.
Should
Yeah,
you
I
be?
mean, and I agree with Henry. Like, if you skip those and you're doing reviews, like, or discussing a game, like, I need to know that because there's certain things you're not going to be able to have an opinion on when we're having a conversation about the game. So I agree that's why the disclosure of that is definitely very important.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
But what are you saying, Omar?
Yeah, should people that skip the what you call it, the boss battle, should be exempted from getting trophies for it?
No,
Why?
I don't really care. I don't care about trophies.
Why would I care about that though? Like I don't. Why would I care about somebody else getting a trophy because they didn't do a boss battle?
Well, the issue is I'm more focusing on reviewers, but because people are gonna abuse the fuck out of it and not even disclose
They still have
it.
to play the whole game.
But they still have to
there.
beat the game, though. They still have to beat the game to get the in-game trophy. So why does the the fact that they didn't do a boss battle matter.
Yeah, most of the trophies in Death Stranding don't even have to do with that in the first place. So, yeah, no.
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, this is very specific to Death Stranding. This conversation we're having, like, if you're talking about other stuff, I mean, they can make that. Each developer can make that decision on a case by case basis. Like, Bethesda makes the choice to tell you that your game, when if you want to use mods of any kind, like it marks your save and then doesn't allow you to have achievements. So each developer can make that decision, but as it pertains to Death Stranding, no, because that's not. I don't really care. Like I think that would be pointless because, like I said, defeating the bosses isn't really a big deal in Death Stranding.
I mean, I think a lot of this, what people have getting upset about, is a lot of this goes back to the whole argument of difficulty trophies. People feel some type of way that you can get the same trophy if you skip a boss or if you don't. Like, I don't know. People get really finicky when it comes to their trophies. They're like, my platinum isn't the same as your platinum because my platinum, I played on the hardest difficulty and beat all the bosses in one shot with no armor on, but you played it on the easy difficulty and had it on baby mode and got the plat, so your platinum doesn't weigh the same as mine. And it's just like, bro. That's what this is really about. People feel some type of way because people can get the same trophies by doing less than what somebody does on like a harder difficulty, and people get upset about that.
My focus was strictly on reviewers, not.
I wasn't talking about you, Omar. I was talking about other people.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. There is significant amount of pride in beating games on our way.
Yeah, it was the
Let's just
same way
face it.
when people got upset because difficulty trophies got taken away. They felt some type of way because they want that accolade to say, I did it, I beat it on the hardest difficulty, and that's really what this is about.
Which I'm 100% in agreement with PlayStation on removal of the hard trophy because I do
Absolutely.
not care.
Take them shits away.
Yeah, because the people who told me that they like to play on the hardest difficulty, they said they like to do it for themselves. So you don't need a trophy, sir.
Exactly.
Have
They
a
said
ball.
they did it for the fun of it. They wasn't in it for the game. So okay, so now you can be in it for the game, but now you don't get your little pop in for doing the hard thing, the hard difficulty, and now you're upset. Why?
Mhm. Exactly. And like trust me, like I don't give games crap for outside of PlayStation. Don't do it, but I just think that was the funniest thing because we went over that for a while and just people were so upset for so long about oh, I got the shield, you got the special shield if you beat God of War on the hardest difficulty and stuff, and people were just foaming at the mouth, and I was like, but I thought you liked that though. Like why does it matter if you get a trophy, um but yeah, Weave, how are you feeling about this? Is it a non-starter for you, or what's your deal about the skippable bosses in Death Stranding 2, sir?
Well, I think this is very clearly Kojima's transition in a game
Into
from a game
movie?
director to a movie director. Exactly. He finally gets to make his movie. So yeah, so shout out to Hideo. He finally got his dream. So yeah, let him have it. I'm good.
No doubt.
One
Yeah,
step
man,
closer. I
it's
think OD is gonna be his final form. Like, I just know
Oh,
that's
man.
gonna be like a
But wait,
an
what's that?
interactive movie.
What's that thing called that Remedy made? The Xbox game. The shit.
yeah, I remember which one.
Oh God, the one that's not a part of their discography anymore. The one that was exclusive to the Xbox One. Fuck. Damn, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a little TV series essentially. Yes, that. I was like, I feel like OD's gonna be something similar to a Quantum Break situation.
Yep. It's
And
gonna be so revolutionary you can't even play it.
Exactly, and I think it's gonna be like we've been saying, it's gonna be his final form before he goes into
Well, I
full
was gonna say Quantum Break, but I didn't because you said something else, and I was like, you could play Quantum Break
Remedy.
though, but it had
No,
TV
I
shows
can't.
in between.
Remedy. It's still exclusive to Xbox or PC.
The thing is about this that makes no sense is there is literally a Death Stranding movie at work right now. Should he not be working on it himself. Like,
I mean, he already did when he made Death Stranding.
oh snap!
I mean, he are like. The question is, are they just gonna like literally just do Death Stranding and put? I mean, it's literally got actors in it who actually act. So it's just like, are you just gonna just essentially just put the cutscenes into
Yeah,
movie form?
it's the most pointless adaptation ever.
Yeah, like they have like a new protagonist and trying to tell a new story of Death Stranding. Like I really don't get the point of the movie because Death Stranding is essentially a great movie video game. Like it's already there. So I don't really get it. But let Kojima do him. If he wants to
Hey,
dip his toe in it, might as well.
hey, hey, and if OD turns out to be actually a movie, and it's
I'm
it's a
telling
I
you.
don't
game
think.
for perfect game for Xbox fans because I heard they don't play games.
Game Pass with the movies now. All right.
Oh man,
It's gonna be interesting
yo,
when it comes to OD. What's gonna be?
I'm really interested
it
in
is.
this espionage game that he's working with PlayStation. I want to know what that's gonna be about.
Oh yeah, that one.
Because then he said after that, that's gonna be phase 3, and then after that, I'm guessing that's when he fully jumps into director mode and starts just working on
But
movies.
how many installments of that game did they sign
Of
up
what
for?
game?
The espionage. I think 2 or 3, right?
They didn't
They
say.
didn't say. There. I mean, I think you're assuming it's gonna be a franchise. He never said that, so it could
Yeah,
just
he
be a
didn't say.
one-off.
He just said that he's working on another espionage game just for PlayStation. But yeah, to our last point here, that we're going to talk about, you have a lot of people. I had a discussion, so this was something that was brought up. Funny enough, on our friend of the show, Thrifty's podcast, while they were having the discussion about uh, the Death Stranding, whole thing, they kind of ADHD'd into another conversation. Uh, and this referencing kind of got me crazy because they had a discussion about a couple different things. But this discussion turned to the important role that stories play in video games. Um, so to that end, uh, you had a comment from Will, and I was just like, I was kind of lost at the comment based on the discussion they were having because prior, and I got to set it up so you guys can get the whole gist of it, right? So in the conversation, they were um, discussing they discussed franchises and games that he felt like were instant classics, and a lot of them, funny enough, are Uncharted, Mass Effect, so on and so forth. Games that have incredible stories, incredible characters that make up these worlds. The gameplay is great and all these things, but stating after that, uh, you know, what does it matter if a game has a good story or not? You can read a book, or they've been telling stories since the beginning of time, and I was just like that. That to me was like really dismissive of uh, the importance that stories play in these games because, especially when they just mentioned two of the games that have some of the most famous stories and characters in gaming, and that's one of the reasons they're so big. People constantly talk about, Chloe and Nadine and Drake and all these people and so on and so forth in the Uncharted series, in Mass Effect. That is literally one of the single biggest reasons people love that universe. You are experiencing an amazing story with incredible character development and world building. The gameplay, the story and the character development and world building plays just as much of an important role as the gameplay. These things are all factors in what make up these games being absolutely amazing. So I thought it was kind of weird to then go into a conversation where they were like, "Oh, who cares if this game has an amazing story?" And it was like, like just because in that case, I think they were referencing metaphor from what I remember because he hadn't gotten that far in it or something, and I was like, bro, you got saying like dismissing the story was kind of weird. Like I said, you're in one instance you refer to games that have these things in abundance that are amazing, but then reference that it's unimportant in the next. And I was like, I feel like they kind of lost that one in that conversation. I found it pretty interesting because I feel like it's not just them, and that's why it's something I wanted to point out and have a conversation with. I feel like a lot of people do this in today's gaming. One person that I know in particular, I wanted to strangle this person just dearly because they were one of the people that said when they play video games for the first time, regardless, they skip cutscenes because all they want to do is play the game. And I was like, oh boy, let me count the ways I want to strangle this person. Like I was so upset. Like I was like, so you have no idea what's going on half the time. And again, we were just having this discussion about when you skip something or when you do something, miss something in a game, can you have an honest conversation with these people? And it's like, I'm sitting here thinking about all these incredible games, whether it be God of War, whether it be the Horizon series, Mass Effect, so on and so forth. And it's like, even something like Gears of War, like if you skip the cutscenes, you have no idea what's going on. Like story is an incredible, integral part of gaming. Like, yes, there's games where it's just gameplay, right? But like, you want to play these games that are largely as big as they are and as good as they are because of those things. So to me, it's kind of weird to dismiss the importance of that when you're having a conversation about gaming as if it's unimportant. That's like saying animation is unimportant or something. Like to me, it's that integrated into it. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this one threw me for a loop. I know we all play a lot of games where we are very, very enthralled into these worlds, these places we get transported to. Um, whether it's Ghost of Tsushima, and Jin Sakai's story and everything you go through in that, and so on and so forth. So again, how does this one? Does that seem weird to be dismissive to you guys about the importance that story plays in the games that we play today? I'll start with you, Weeb.
Yeah, you're starting with the right one because yeah, this absolute bullshit that you're skipping cutscenes or think story is not important in games. I mean, we've had some of the best stories in media ever in this the current uh, time of gaming. So it's crazy to just dismiss that. I mean, and look, the thing with story is like not every game needs to have a story. Of course, I'm not gonna expect a Mario game to have a great story, but you're getting what you're well you pay for. You know what you're into when you buy a game like that. Um, but if you want to tell a story, then yeah, make sure you do it well. And yes, we have had you mentioned Uncharted, you have The Last of Us, and it was Sony's definitely on point with that with their narrative-driven story games.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of yeah, massive Bioware is always been really good at their stories, and also plenty of Japanese developers. I mean, the story of Nier Automata was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean it is it has, I guess it's always been part of gaming. It's just the medium was more limited back in the day, and when we got the option to you have cutscenes, voice acting, and you don't necessarily even need voice acting because you can of course have a absolutely fantastic story and it's just text only. um, but even still, like it has become more yeah, more and more like like Hollywood, right? The media sort of converge there. um, yeah, it is. it's obviously makes sense that you're that they're trying to emulate it. But the interesting thing is it sort of is a feedback loop, because a lot of people who are now working on TV shows and movies, grew up playing games, so they're also again influenced by games. Like there have been writers who have been influenced by The Last of Us, for example, and that's interesting because then you see things like that coming back in not just Last of Us adaptation, but also in other movies or other TV shows. Um, and that also shows you the value of that, because yeah, I mean it creates art, it creates more art. Um, yeah, I don't understand why anybody would dismiss story in games, so you would deprive yourself of some of the most amazing stories ever told, basically, just because you don't like. I mean, sure, if you don't like story games, then don't play them. But don't argue that they're not needed, because like I love those games. I love
Mm-hmm.
games with incredible writing. And again, like I think I said it in the previous podcast, it's not just story, it's writing in general. And you can have a very simple story, but if you have compelling characters that you care about and are are interesting, then you can have like a very basic story, and you can still carry that till the end, because you're just so invested in these characters. um, yeah, I guess I just can't understand why anybody would argue that way. You're entitled to your opinion, of course, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I'm also entitled to call it bullshit.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said, I just thought that was weird because I was like, every game that was mentioned in the prior discussion during that was like famous for its characters and its story and its world. And I was like, you realize all of that stuff was framed and created via the writing. So I was just like, how can how can we say that this stuff is, unimportant or irrelevant when, that's part just as much as part of, the gameplay and visualization that goes into gaming. Like these games are
Yeah,
the sum of their parts, right? It's not just this or just that. So
yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah,
a
yeah.
really
I
weird
mean,
one.
imagine those games without story. Like I mean, if it has good gameplay, it's still it can still give you a solid experience, but it would not be the same. It
Yeah.
would not. And I've come a long way. Like there used to be, I'll remember, the Resident Evil games with the really campy, bad voice acting. Um, and
Hmm.
and and now now you have games that have incredible performances, and sort of in the same way where um, in in the non-interactive media, um, TV shows used to be just soaps or you know variety shows or whatever, right? It wasn't taken seriously. Like no Hollywood actor would dare to show up in a TV show because it was embarrassing. That's sort of what they, if they ever started there, outgrew. And now we have everybody and their mom is showing up in TV shows, and they're great now. They so it's a viable alternative. You can tell the same quality of stories in in TV shows as you can in movies, and I'd say in the same extent, games can do that as well. They can tell incredible, and always have been. It's not like this is something new, but it's getting better and better. And yes, that also raises the bar. That's kind of the like I said, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like you don't have to tell a story, but now if you do, do it well. Because if unless you're purposely making it bad, because that's also an option. But if you're making a game and you say, yeah, I know that this is the greatest story ever told, then I've seen and I've played great stories. So you do have to you're setting some high expectations there, and if you don't deliver, then of course I'm entirely in my right to point it out and criticize you for it. It's obviously a risk that you take when you do it, but there's so many ways you can tell the story like that. That's, I guess, the beauty also of games, is that you can, because it is an interactive medium, you can do more with that than just passively watching it. Like the fact that you're actually doing it, like the seen The Last of Us Part Two, when you um, I guess we can talk spoilers because it's but when you I think it was Nora, when you chase her down in that let's say in the basement that was spore infested, and then you sort of have to beat the information out of her, and then they suddenly switch perspectives and you see it from her side, and you're like, you don't have a choice there. You have to beat her to progress the story. But it's so different that when, instead of just watching a character do it, that you actually have to press the buttons, and that's an experience you can't have, with a passive medium like TV and movies. That's something you can only have in games, and that's sort of the beautiful synergy between storytelling and games. The gameplay, the interactive medium part of it, is that you can do something like that. You can do something different than the traditional storytelling media can do, and it adds to it, right? It adds to the entire sphere of storytelling. Uh, you're experiencing something new, something different, and why would you not want this? Why would you dismiss this? Why would you think that is not necessary? That is absolutely necessary, because you could never get an experience like that in any other medium. So if you can have a
Mm-hmm.
fucking great story, and you can actually also play it and feel it, because that's also why I always and I think we all agree that yeah, sure, if you want to watch a game on YouTube, go for it, but don't pretend that you've have had the same experience as somebody who actually played the game, because it feels
Exactly.
entirely different, because you're that's how we are wired. We experience things differently if we're actually in control, if we actually feel that our actions do something on what we're seeing. You're making an emotional connection. You have certain feelings about it, and that's something that only games can do in that sense. So yeah,
Yeah. Creates player agency.
absolutely.
No doubt. That's what's up. Yeah, I agree with all that 100%, Weeb. Morgan, another very big fan. I mean, we all are in here when it comes to stories and gameplay. Uh, how do you feel about this discussion, the dismissal that it's unimportant having a good story?
I mean, like always, we broke it down great. Um, Essentially, like, I'm never gonna tell anybody how to play. If you want to skip a story, that's on you. But you're honestly doing yourself a disservice by skipping the narrative. I think you're skipping out on what the team, the studio, the writers were trying to convey with their game. And it's I don't think it's a surprise that people who do that are usually less hopeful, less positive about the state of gaming. Well, you would be if you miss out on some great storytelling. If you're just, trying to get from point A to B and you don't really care about like meat in the middle, then yeah, games would suck to me too. Um, so it's just like I don't get that whole ideal of I just want to get it for the gameplay. Like I think yes, games are obviously gameplay, but games have grown so much that they like we've said, we have other mediums taking notes from these games. I mean, you had the last Alien movie. saying, sitting down with Neil Druckmann saying like a lot of what The Last of Us did inspired what they did for Alien. I mean, even the main character is like essentially Ellie. Like they essentially made them into Ellie. He even said that he was inspired by Ellie, and then another character in the movie is inspired by Lev. Like it's like they were just saying that The Last of Us was a big inspiration, and then you got the other movie, Prey. Their main character and the axe that she has and or the hatchet that she has in the game is inspired by God of War. Um,
Yeah, that was really cool to see when we watched that.
yeah,
That was dope.
yeah. They said that that her main weapon and the way she's able to beat the Predator in the movie was inspired by God of War. She put a rope around her axe so that she could bring it back the same way Kratos brings his back, right? So it's just like,
Yeah,
and I
they said
think,
they literally wouldn't have thought of that
yeah, if
without
it
that mechanic. Like that was
without
incredible.
yeah, without with exactly without God of War. So it's just like gaming has reached this point where it's bigger than gaming, that it's passing the threshold, even with the current, these past few years where we're seeing, gaming inspired movies and TV series finally get the respect they deserve. you know with series like Fallout, like The Last of Us. I mean, this Cyberpunk series, which was amazing. Arcane, like all of these things, and like you'd be surprised how many people don't even know they're inspired by video games. When they figure it out, they're like, wait, what? You know? And then you see a huge surge in those games as the people who play them or who watch these series or these movies come back and play the games that they're inspired by, and that's all because of the stories, the great stories that these games deliver. So again, like, do you want to skip it? That's you. But again, I think you are going to be missing out on some great storytelling if you skip cutscenes with a lot of these games. Like, it's just I mean, I can't even count on my fingers how many games have brought me to tears, just watching the story and seeing how the characters get through whatever trials they're trying to get through. Just like what gaming has done for me, especially, just like, and a lot of it has to do with the story. I always love gameplay, but what the stories have conveyed, and the message that was told has always like got me through like the worst of times. So I just don't get how somebody can just be like, yeah, great story, somebody's spilt their heart on this story, but nah, I'm gonna skip it and just go straight to gameplay. I mean, there are definitely games for you. Those are a lot of live service games. You can just be gameplay oriented all day long. I just don't get the point of doing that with a single player game, but especially a narrative single player game. But yeah, people are gonna do what they do, but you're going to miss out on something great. You're going to miss out on that thing that elevates the game for another level to you. A game that maybe just because you just played the gameplay was like a 6 or a 7 to you, might have been like a 9 or a 10 because of the story. It elevated it for you and it pushed it to the next level because now you understand why you're doing this gameplay. You understand why this character is the way they are and why they're on this journey. Why the whole reason why you're A to B, reason that they're doing this task and they've taken this upon themselves. I mean, like you all been saying, like I just think about God of War 2018 and The Last of Us and Uncharted. Like these characters and the stories that they did and the reason why they're going on these journeys is just amazing. Like, and I can't wait to the next chapter of all these games. Cory Barlog's next game, and Intergalactic, and just to see where where these great writers, what story they have to tell next. That's why I'm always down. When people get upset, like, oh, why isn't there a third or fourth of this game? They need to go back to this older IP. They need to do this. Like, no, bro. Like, we've got so many great stories. Like, I want to see what they tell next. What's the next tale? What's the next character that I'm gonna fall in love with? What's the next place that I'm gonna want to go back to? Like, it's just like, allow them to be creative, allow them to have that freedom and tell that next tale. Like, I want something new, I want something fresh. Like, give me another IP that I can fall in love with. So yeah, that's just how I feel. Like, it's, again, do you? But I would suggest not doing that. Like, I could definitely see you doing that on a second run, third run, and you want to play the game again, and you want to get to the gameplay you've gotten, what you wanted out of the story. Cool. But on your first playthrough, please, please, please listen to the story.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. And like you said, there's games where you could do that, where the story is, it's irrelevant,
Yeah.
and it's up to players to be able to make that choice, for themselves and really understand what they're playing and, what they're engaging with. But again, like I said, it was just in that whole discussion, it was just funny to hear all these great games that are largely popular for their great stories and characters and world building, and it's like all that happens
I just want
during
it for
the
the gameplay.
cutscenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, like we literally talked about it the other day. The reason I wanted to beat that character's ass is because of what they said and what the interactions that happened versus my character in the cutscene.
And mind you, these are the people who do this, people who skip gameplay, are the same ones who say they don't understand why game A or game B is people's favorite. Like,
Exactly.
of course
They
you
don't
don't
understand.
You didn't listen to the story. You don't understand the character's journey. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing. You just decided, I just want to hack and slash or shoot. That's all I care about. So that's all you got out of it. You're not gonna get what you're not gonna get what the studio and what these directors, the intention of what they were trying to say, because you didn't care to give it that space, give it that time, allow it to take you on that journey. So I mean, of course you're confused.
Yeah, like I couldn't imagine somebody playing God of War, Ragnarok in 2018 and skipping the cutscene.
Bruh. Kratos literally changed who he was, became an actual father, put down, trying to teach his son, trying to tell him to grow up, put down the violence, and everything, you can't answer everything as a god, the whole lesson that he was trying to teach Atreus, and you just skipped that. Like,
yeah, like
oh
I mean,
my
they do
God.
have they do have environmental and gameplay storytelling, but you're gonna be lost without the stuff that happens in the cutscenes as well.
Mm-hmm.
The story with the dwarves and everything that happens, and
Nah, man.
I was like, oh man, just way to ruin your whole experience. It's it's like going to doing anything and getting half the experience, like literally. Like it's just wild to me. Omar, I know you also have a big passion for this as well. How are you feeling about this discussion and people thinking, the story is an unimportant part of gaming?
So, to show you how serious I am, first off, that Eric's home game looked interesting. I'm interested in it. Now going back to the conversation. Look good. By a why. So, first they say gameplay is not important, then they say music is not important, and now story is not important. What is important? So, because of Weeb, I think, I got into the Yakuza franchise. It got passable gameplay, but the story is phenomenal. Like, I wish Stage was here. He would verify for me. Me and him, we had shit ton of spaces just talking about The Last of Us 1 and 2 ending. Good, bad.
Oh man, did you just say passable gameplay?
Yeah.
See, I was trying to let him slide on that because he definitely gets mad when people say South of Midnight is passable, but now he gonna call Yakuza passable.
The difference between South of Midnight, one is like an 8-hour game and the other one is like 50-hour game. We're not doing that.
Oh my god. Yo, the Yakuza gameplay isn't passable though.
It is passable.
It's impeccable.
Bro, you are on one right now.
But let's move on.
No.
Now you see why I called on Omar last.
It's some bullshit, bro.
No, what? Hey, Yakuza, because it's so passable, they switch genre. We're not doing that.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, so that means the Final Fantasies combat throughout the entire series is passable? That's your opinion?
which one? 8 was terrible.
All,
So
all. I'm
yeah,
saying all.
no,
According to
yeah,
you,
no,
if you
not
switch
not
gameplay,
not
if you switch gameplay
not
styles, that means the gameplay is passable.
not all of them are good.
No,
8
no, no,
was
no. That's
terrible.
what you said though. You
Yeah, no,
said
8 is terrible.
because they switched gameplay, it means that the gameplay was just passable. So according to you, Final Fantasy, the all of the Final Fantasy. I'm not talking about 8. I'm not talking about 7. I'm talking about 10. I'm talking about all. According to you, the gameplay is just passable because they decided to switch the gameplay style.
No, I'm saying the
In
gameplay.
every fucking game, so it's passable.
Yeah, it's passable. Final
I'm
Fantasy.
saying,
Okay,
I'm
Omar
saying,
said, guys, Final Fantasy gameplay is passable. Okay.
I'm saying the gameplay is passable because they literally changed that with Zero. Zero is so fucking fun. It's not even funny. Like Zero
Okay, but
combat is amazing.
that's different because action games change through. I mean, Yakuza is an old franchise. Obviously, it's going to
That's why
improve. It's going to be different through the
that's why
years.
that's why
That's
I
not the same.
literally
That's not the same as saying gameplay is passable because again,
okay.
older games to me are like back in the day, those were peak games. But obviously today, the gameplay is different.
Okay,
Like
that
if you go back to like an older game like Sly Cooper or Jack and Dexter, in today's standards, that gameplay would be passable,
okay.
but it wouldn't be up to today's standards.
That's a fair assessment. I need to always remember I'm playing all the games. So yeah, fair point. But going back to it, some people skip stories, skip cutscenes, first time mind you, and I'm like, oh, you're playing for the gameplay. I get like, trust me, I'm not again. So here's the thing. When it comes to Metroidvania, most of Metroidvania I understand the storytelling, but sometimes the storytelling is so convoluted, I am lost. Like I am absolutely lost. But not one time did I skip the cutscene. I always try to listen. I always try to read, even if it doesn't make any sense, and I'm lost. And you know what I do at the end? I literally go on YouTube and look up the story so I understand it. Yes, I enjoy the gameplay, but I'm curious also about the story. Another thing is, no, but that's an epic conversation. But yeah, going back to it, dude, I don't know who that real dude, the person is, innate. I,
Yeah, I was just mentioning because everybody in the chat, everybody else knows who that person is. I mean, they're cool. It was just I was just mentioning them so that they understand where the conversation came from.
yeah,
But my point was that a lot of people do that. A lot of people are dismissive of the importance that stories play in video games just because there are games where the story is unimportant. But
yeah,
what I was pointing out is that during that same conversation, they brought up games that they loved that were some of their favorites. And a lot of those games, actually all of those games, are largely also famous for their story, character development, and world building, which is all built within the story and the world that's being told via the story. Like, so it's like it's not unimportant.
I don't comprehend this in terms of yeah, people, dude, like you said, metaphor of a great story. Metaphor,
Yeah, the joke with metaphor for them was that he hadn't gotten far in it or something, so he didn't really get it
like
yet. So I
I
mean, it's kind of the thing when people are discussing a story that they don't get before they've actually seen the
yeah,
story.
meta-
So yeah, I got why he was lost.
metaphor story is slow build. You get close
Yeah,
to
it
the
is.
end, that one is unravel. Kind of like the training too. The training I meant, where close to the end and then everything gets revealed. That's basically it. Yeah, I'm actually lost for what was this one, cause hey, I will say that if it help you, if you enjoy it, you do you. And for me, I'll always care about music, voice acting, character design, um, storytelling, even lip syncing is important for me. When I see a game where lip syncing is not accurate, I'm like, dude, that's way off. I hope they patch it. It's so frustrating, and it's difficult to have a genuine conversation with someone if this person skipped the story. And again, we have done a few spoiler casts. Why? Because we talked about the story. We talk about gameplay. Gameplay is muckless enough, but story, in order to talk story, we need to do what? Spoiler cast. Which is, I requested to do one to talk about Touch Midnight, but you haven't finished the game, so we're not gonna do that. So to me, it's like the fact that spoiler cast exists to talk about story, that should tell you how important storytelling is. It, yeah, for the person that wanna skip story, you do you. Me, I'm just gonna back and listen to watch the story, whether cutscene, whether just voice acting, all important in my mind. Heck, I literally raved about what you call it, the mini side quest in um, South of Midnight because of the storytelling. It has some amazing storytelling. It's yeah. Hey, people gonna be people. They're gonna skip cutscenes, but you do you.
Yeah, but I think the ultimate thing I want people to understand is like if you are playing like that, in all honesty, you're just missing a lot, right? And it's funny. Morgan actually pointed it out, right, when she was talking about it earlier. Is that the one person in particular that I knew that is separate from that conversation that specifically stated that they skip cutscenes in all video games, and I just was just flabbergasted, and mainly because this person this person literally was like, they basically said what Morgan said. They don't get why people love a lot of the games they love, and I'm like, bro, that's because you're not getting the entire game. Like you're literally
And
skipping the cutscenes in every game you play. I was like, you cannot do that.
imagine
Like, and
skipping
then be
Red
like,
Dead
oh, I played that
Redemption.
game.
I hate the game, but imagine skipping the story in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like,
Yeah,
imagine
well,
skipping it.
that's what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't get any of it. Like you wouldn't understand the joke. You wouldn't understand the joke about in Red Dead Redemption 2 about, I got a plan, Dutch. Like you wouldn't get any of the jokes, like
I
the whole thing.
I still remember the moment from The Last of Us when they say everyone and their mother shows that road, or you're treading on mighty thin ice, like,
Well, yeah, exactly.
or
You wouldn't understand that.
or
Like,
I sell hardcore drugs. Like, say that in any other content, people gonna look at you crazy. But when you say it in The Last of Us, some people gonna cry, cause that was a powerful moment. Yeah. Again, I, you gotta question people. Why are you playing? Then what is your enjoyment? If your enjoyment is gameplay, you do you. But I'm not gonna be able to have a genuine conversation with you about why this game is beloved, why game is not beloved, because you don't even know the story.
yeah, I don't know that it. Like I said, that made no sense to me. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, that to clarify, the other part was yeah, that thing, the skipping thing was something someone told me that they did on Twitter. I was watching them play a game they were streaming on Twitter, and I was asking them something about the game, and they were like, "Oh, I just skip all the cutscenes." They were like, "Yeah, I don't watch cutscenes in games or something," and I was like, "What?" Like, like I was just completely lost, and I was just like, I mean, yeah, I get it. If you like, there's certain games where, like I said, it's the story's irrelevant. Um, but I was like saying like. I'm gonna go play God of War. I'm gonna go play Final Fantasy. I'm gonna go play Metaphor. I'm gonna go play all these games, and I'm gonna skip the cutscenes. I was like, I mean, you might as well just not play. Like to me, that was like the weirdest thing. Like, and this person is like heavily invested in gaming, so like, I mean, this person has uh, as probably as much tech as I do when it comes to gaming. And I was like, so you're so invested in gaming, but you only want half the experience essentially?
So,
Like I was just like, yeah,
would
I
you
was completely flabbergasted.
would you be able to take that person seriously when it comes to gaming now?
You said, would you what?
I said, would you be able to take that person now seriously when it comes to gaming now?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is what comes down to.
yeah. That person's opinion on any game was, outside of discussing purely gameplay, is completely irrelevant. But yeah, it was wild. Yeah, yeah. Thrifty still got to play through Metaphor some more. I know he said he got about 6 hours in, but he been globetrotting lately. He taking vacations now and living it up in the Hamptons. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. One day, hopefully, everybody can appreciate it. Thankfully, that's a small group of people, and to what Lobo said earlier, there's definitely a new set of gamers out here who, uh, are the free to play, you know, no real attention span type gamers who, maybe not haven't gotten those experiences, so they're not used to that. But to what I told them, thankfully, my nieces and nephews, I got them to play Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 and I forgot that Life is Strange and I forget the one with the rats. I always forget the name of it. Um,
Plague Tale.
Tale something. Yeah, Plague's Tale. There you go. So, my nieces and nephews are impure, while they're also enjoying games like Fortnite and so on and so forth, they have enjoyed a ton of really great offerings and gotten to see what complete games look like that don't nickel and dime you, that aren't trying to get you to buy the latest skin. So they definitely have a more complete version of what it's like to appreciate gaming as a whole. Um, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we got to do the best we can with this new generation,
I
so
definitely
that we can
cried at
keep it
the
up.
end of Plague's Tale too. As a big sister myself, it hurt me deep.
Right? Oh yeah, yeah. They know. I had to put them on broken. My niece. I remember the first time my niece was watching me play Assassin's Creed, and she was like, "Can I play?" And I was like, "Of course you could play," And then from then on, she was a little Assassin's Creed fan, and that turned into The Last of Us, and uh, they all have the platinum for Telltale. The Walking Dead because they were all big fans of The Walking Dead. So yeah, they have gotten to really and truly experience the importance of these complete games and stuff like that. So I'm really proud of them for that. And now they've all got their PS5s. They now have two PS5s and one of them has a PC. We built them a PC. So there's four of them. So the youngest, he ain't big enough yet. So we'll see when he gets his PS5. Um, but yeah, they're all really big gamers and they all have at least one platinum. And now it's kind of funny to watch them, when new games come out and, they start playing them and get excited for them. They're working through Split Fiction right now. So they're having fun with that. The boys versus the girls in Split Fiction. So the boys are playing some, and then the girls will play some. So yeah, man, it's awesome, man, just to get to share that with the next in line in your family, and so on and so forth. And like I said, these get to see these stories, like Morgan was saying, her being a big sister and stuff like that. The way that these games can affect you differently, depending on how you grew up, and your position. Whether you're the middle child, the big sister, the little brother, whatever. These games give us so much, and transport us to these amazing worlds, and give us great gameplay, story, visuals. I know Broken knows that for sure in the chat here because he's playing Horizon right now. From what I remember, creating some banging screenshots. But yeah, with that, man, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Um, you know, it was nice and concise. We got the news out the way. There's a lot of gaming to be done out here. Big shout out to the developers who are out here working hard, giving us these amazing games. Um, there's just so much to play, man. It's just gaming is wonderful right now, at least as far as like what's being delivered. Um, so hopefully we can get this industry back to a really healthy state. Because these devs are definitely treating us right, giving us some amazing things to play, and a ton more to come in the future. They said with so many upcoming games with Expedition and Expedition 33 and the Lunar remaster just came out, and just so much. So but yeah, thank you everybody who joined us in the chat. It was good to have Lobo finally make it, bro. It's good to see you. Thrifty, thank you for coming through and making it. In the end there, you missed your favorite part. Um, where Omar, I thought Omar was gonna make it through a whole episode without getting dragged, but he couldn't quite make it. So Henry said we'll have a celebration when Omar makes it through an episode without that. Uh, but yeah, like I said, man, it's good to see everybody coming through. Seafresh, Wara, Henry, um, some other people came through in the middle. I know Viper was right there. When Viper said the audacity, I already know what that's about, because Viper's all about that fire gameplay and story. Yeah. We talked about you and Will's conversation a little bit, Thrifty, when he was kind of downplaying the importance of story. So we had that conversation. But yeah, man, I appreciate again everybody. We're gonna let everybody know where you can find us and head up out of here. And get ready to enjoy these Easter Saturday, as it were, for some people. But yeah, Weave, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, great show, except for Omar, that was just passable. Um, but yeah, you can find me. Yeah, sorry, I had to get it in there. You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizo and also Blue Sky. And yeah, All Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation. Morgan, where can the people find you, ma'am?
Whew. People can find me also on Twitter at Chill Bandit, and hopefully finishing this up. I am like, no lie to you guys, I am literally 2 minutes away from getting this plat. Like I thought I would get it before the end of the show, but I didn't. Aw. But yeah, you guys can find me on PSN too at Chill Bandit 92 if you wanna friend me and watch me ignore you as I just play single player games. But yeah, hopefully, next week will be the week we get to, I guess, talk about Expedition 33. I forgot the exact day it comes out. I don't know if it comes out before or after next week's podcast.
It comes out April 24th, the same day as the pre-orders for the Switch.
I'm curious if we're gonna
Okay.
do a show, unless something very important happens. I think we're gonna skip it, but we will see.
Oh man, this man just making declarations. Okay. But yeah, next week is Expedition 33 week, so I am so hype about that. Let us know in the chat if you are also getting Expedition 33. Available on all platforms, including Game Pass. Yes, Game Pass ad, I know. But yeah, see you guys next week. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, Otter Nation.
Right?
All Nation.
Otter Nation. And Karawa, where can the people find you, sir?
So shout out to everyone that came through. Hit that like button, share the stream out. You can find me on Carabar_Job on Twitter and Vitamin E Podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Play your games and don't skip the cutscenes.
Right? Yeah, stop
Message of the
skipping them
day.
cutscenes. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter or Blue Sky at the Real Innate. Most of the time you can find me gaming, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, playing these fire games, which I know all the homies that came through today in the chat know what that's about. They always keeping it gaming. Unlike sometimes Twitter be arguing about nothing. But yeah, we're gonna get back to these games. I'm gonna go watch children chase Easter egg baskets or something in the yard in like 30 minutes, because you know that's what you do Easter weekend, I guess, and eat some good food. And then get back to these games, because I'm gonna bring that PlayStation Portal and my Switch, baby. You know what I'm saying? We don't stop gaming just because we leaving the house.
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
man, he
we're gonna
can't
get
say he
up out
can't
of here.
simply just touch grass.
Absolutely not. I'm gonna touch that grass and head straight to the back. Even at the cookout, we getting it in. But but yeah, man, we're gonna get out of here. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. That's another episode in the books, as Omar loves to say. And we're gonna get out of here. Otter Nation.
Otter
Automation.
Nation.